We are live. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, Tuesday, March 3rd. What an amazing day. We just saw a huge spike in gold. It was at 16, but now it's flying up to 1622. I'm starting the day with a gold stock because the first thing I did was trade gold. Right when I woke up at the open, I saw gold. Jnug is an ETF basically, and I saw it was super oversold on Friday. I got into my first position on Friday down in here in this 49 region. There was no reason not to get in. And then I've been watching gold for a long time. It was in this giant triangle. I saw Jnug going to $128 for a gain of 73%. From where we're at now, the gain would be even more, 117%. I think that's coming. So what I'm doing right now is I'm building a position in Jnug for about a 2 to 3 month hold, maybe less. We'll see, but I want to get at least 70% out of this trade. So somewhere in one of these white lines back to 100. We recently were at 50 in November 11th. We eventually peaked only 3 months later, about 4 months later at 104. So that is a beautiful 100% gain in 4 months. And that's something that's not as volatile or scary to be in as like a Tesla stock or something like that that's just going up and down with the markets. Let's check the Dow. The Dow down 198 points with a Fed rate cut today. I don't think that's great for the rate cut for the Fed to do that. So I just feel, that is hurting the Dow right now with that Fed rate cut, also helping gold spike immediately. So you got to watch the Fed minutes. It tells a lot about what's happening. People taking profits here on Jnug as it hit 60. I think they were happy with those. But you can also see when it went down, it got bought up. Now it's sold out. We got our new consolidation range. This is the same area we like to stay in back in the day. So I'm going to move my green box here. My green box, there are my consolidation ranges. So right now, you should be accumulating Jnug. Again, this is not financial advice. Please get yourself a financial advisor. Read the description below. This is for entertainment purposes only. I have to say that or YouTube will, or someone could try to sue me. Basically, he told me to do this and I lost all my money. But, I wouldn't have subscribers and my channel wouldn't be growing if I was losing people's money constantly. So here we are. We're sitting in this green accumulation zone here now for Jnug. It is time to get back into Jnug. The big boys reset it really well for us. I actually, it was amazing what they did. It sucks if you were caught up in it, but that's why you have to take profits. You have to raise stop losses. Your stop loss should have been somewhere above this trend line here. I did not see us falling through this entire structure, so that could happen. Let's see what's going on with Jnug. I could do some new work on it. This is how I trade gold. If you're trying to trade gold, I just trade Jnug. And then if you think it's going down, you trade JDST, which is JDust. And that's basically your short and your long. So you can short it without having a short position. You just buy the short stock and it will short the market. So this is JDust right here. As you can see, when gold goes up, this goes down. When gold goes down, this goes up. So when gold crashed that day, if you played Jnug, you basically would have made all the gains on Jnug, on JDST. They're fun little switcheroonies to go back and forth on. If you're unbelievable, you can make money both ways almost constantly, but it's not easy. There was a few days where I've seen them both go down. It's very rare, though. They're directly uncorrelated assets. Gold going up huge, huge. We opened the morning at 1588, right, on this daily candle here, and we're already screaming up to 1624. People are rushing in. People are worried again. We also have a school closing in New York City due to coronavirus. That, I think, will have an impact on the markets because it's now getting more serious. When you think of schools closing, you think of businesses closing, you think of New York City shutting down in a sense. That can create a lot of fear in the market. A lot of people who are more conservative, like older buyers and guys with big portfolios, you could see them just hopping right into gold for a couple days and keeping things the way where they want them. So, yes, Tesla up today. The big losers, Bitcoin, all the pot stocks are just dumping. Organogram, Ianthus, Canopy Grow Corp. I sold mine at 26.10. It did go down to 18, would have been a nice place, and then went all the way back up to like 28. So there was a nice 50% gain there. I stayed away from that, sadly. I didn't make any of that. This was the boom right here. Boom down. It's a V-shaped recovery. See the V-shaped recovery. But you know what? I had a long-term holding in this, and I decided it was time to get out, and that's what I did. Sad because I still believe in the weed industry. I still love Canopy, but when they got rid of Bruce Linton, that threw me off a lot. I felt like it was all about the money and not about the loyalty. I really got into it due to Bruce. I kind of look up CEOs and people that start companies, and if I like your style, like I was doing Overstock for a while because I like Patrick Bieran. Thank God I got out before it got way too volatile. You know, so yeah, Jnug is the play for me today at 60.50. I think we're going to see a big move back into the triangle. I think we're going to get up into this next resistance zone here at 65, plow up, and then once we just break, we need to get up into these moving averages again. I have my support and resistance kind of laid out here already. And it's, again, I could redo this, but here's the new accumulation zone for Jnug. If you want to get into Jnug, this is what I suggest goes on. Yeah, thank you for anyone who's watching right now. Really appreciate you jumping into the stream. You're going to get some great knowledge. I'm going to give you some awesome advice and information. What I want to do is basically explain to people what's happening with the Federal Reserve. If you don't understand it, I want to show you what is happening in the Federal Reserve today, and so you can kind of get a feel of what's going on. Dow bouncing back a little bit. Usually that Fed rate cut will do something. Let's see if there's the news on the Fed rate cut. Why are they cutting rates? Donald asked them not to, and then they did it anyway by a quarter point. Okay. Federal Reserve cuts interest rates by 0.5 percentage point. Now, what I'm learning is they used to control the Fed basis points, and they had where the market was and where they thought the Fed basis point should be. And there was anywhere between 100 and 400. Right now, there's the biggest discrepancy between where the Fed wants the rate to be and where the Fed is. I think they've lost control over the rate. George Gammon can explain that to you if you don't believe it. And that's kind of basically bring it in to full circle for you. If you don't know who I'm talking about, let me just go to his YouTube channel. His name is George Gammon. This man right here, and he will put you, he will explain a lot. 14 hours ago, how to build wealth in a crisis. He just talks about different things. He's great videos, how it all doesn't work. The Federal Reserve repo market, Fed funds explained, simple and fast. Here's where he talks, and 3 days ago, this is where he discussed what was happening with the markets, and he just went into how the Fed was basically not in control of the Fed rate anymore. Beautiful video here, stock market and free fall. Honestly, this video should have a different title because some people would think, oh, this is a fear-mongering video, but he has so many amazing things in this video. And look how well
market crash in history. Is this the end game? I'm going to do. The banks are pretty much financing the stock market and the corporate bond market through the Fed printing up all this funny money, taking their balance sheet to over $4 trillion. The Fed also financed the government deficits. And whether we like it or not, whether the talking heads at CNBC like to admit it, the Fed is monetizing that debt. The government takes that money, they inject it into the economy. If it wasn't for government deficit spending, let's remember that real GDP would actually be negative. So the economy is propped up solely by consumer spending and government spending, which is totally unsustainable. But the consumers...
I mean, he could teach. I could go in for hours about George Gammon, but I just definitely go to him, check him out. The videos are hard. It's, you know, learning anything that's worth knowing isn't easy to learn, right? That's why the people who are in control of the world are in control. They hold the knowledge, but you can gain that knowledge. The universe holds all knowledge. No one can basically, they can try to hide it from you, but eventually you can get to the knowledge. It may take some time. You may have to break some walls and get there, but the knowledge is there for you guys. I would get a notebook and I would watch one of his videos a week. See if you can handle it. If you want to understand what's happening in your world today and you want to make money, you really need to understand what's happening in the bond market, the stock market, and you need to understand how they're all correlated and what's really happening. In a caveat to that, I bring people into like the beginnings of this idea, okay? And that's Mike Maloney. How I got in to Bitcoin is from this guy, really, him and Peter Schiff, because they got me into buying gold. And once I started buying credit. Once I started buying gold, I started realizing what was happening.
System.
This is a great...
The Fed. So let's do a recap and break it down even more. The way the system works is that, step one, the government creates glorified IOUs. These bonds increase our national debt and put the public on the hook to pay it back. Step two, IOUs are swapped to create currency. The Treasury sells the bonds to the banks. The banks then turn around and sell our national debt at a profit to the Federal Reserve.
So where does the bond come from? The bond comes when two politicians go against each other and they both say, I'm going to build schools. No, I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to cut taxes. I'm going to do these things. Then they get into office and they have to come and give the public what they said they were going to do. But they got no money. The government's already in debt. Where does he get money to build the schools? Where does he get money to put bike lanes in? Where do these politicians get money to make your life better in your local communities? They ask the Treasury for the money. Where does the Treasury get the money? It issues a bond. So I'm just explaining where it all begins. So they issue the bond, okay? The bond is an IOU. It's basically a piece of paper. They sell the bond to the banks for maybe 100 grand. And then the banks sell that bond to the Federal Reserve for 110 grand. They make a profit. So $10,000 comes out of nowhere. And that's just a small example. I'm not even exactly sure how much they sell the bond back to the Federal Reserve for, but I do know they sell it for a profit.
Probably own. The Federal Reserve then opens its checkbook that doesn't have a penny in it and buys those IOUs.
Imagine if you had a checkbook that you could just keep writing checks on, but you had no money. But the digits were created, like you were basically the digit creator, and your friends, oh, let me get this. Yeah, sure, here you go. And you just kept handing checks out to every single person. Eventually money would be worthless, right?
With IOUs that it writes, checks, on a checking account that has a zero balance. Then they give those checks to the banks and currency just springs into existence. And then the whole process repeats. This results in a buildup of bonds at the Federal Reserve and currency at the Treasury, which is really just a supply of numbers. The Treasury then deposits the numbers in the various branches of the government, and we get to step 3. The government spends the numbers on promises, public works, social programs, and war. Then the government employees, contractors, and soldiers deposit their pay into the banks, and we get to step 4, where the banks multiply the numbers by magically inventing more IOUs through fractional reserve lending, where they steal a portion of everyone's deposit and lend it out. That currency gets redeposited, and then a portion is stolen again, and the process repeats over and over, magnifying the currency supply exponentially. Then we work for some of those numbers, which brings us to step 5, where our numbers are taxed. We pay tax to the IRS, who then turns our numbers over to the Treasury, so the Treasury can pay the principal plus the interest on bonds that were purchased by the Federal Reserve with a check from nothing. Then we get to step 6, the debt ceiling delusion. The system is designed to require ever-increasing levels of debt and will eventually collapse under its own weight because politicians always kick the can down the road. They don't want it to collapse on their watch. And finally, step 7. The secret owners take their cut. The world's largest banks own the Federal Reserve. Those banks make a profit selling our national debt to the Fed. They make a profit when the Fed pays them interest on the reserves held at the Fed, and the Fed pays them a 6% dividend on their ownership of the Fed. This system is fundamentally evil. It funnels wealth from the working population to the government and the bank.
Now, I want to show another portion of this video. This is what happens when you go to the bank and you deposit money, okay? Watch this. This is more simple for most people to understand, so we can also go here if you want to begin here. Listen, it took me 6 years to understand this, guys. I had to watch this video probably 500 times, and I still watch it once or twice a week. I think there's things inside of programming and Netflix movies and things that basically deprogram us. Like, I think there's a way for us to learn this and forget it, even once we understand it, because for me to finally get a handle on this took me a long time. So bear with me if you're just getting into these notions and you're like, wow. And this is not a conspiracy. This is the world you live in, but they made you think it's a conspiracy. Yeah, they are playing Monopoly. It's insane. XRP Muser. Love this guy. Oh. Sorry, man. I get amped when I see people that I love, man. But watch this. This is what happens when people go to the bank.
Stolen $90 of it because the bank left $10 to reserve only a fraction of your goods, gambling in the stock market. You're not actually on public works, social programs, and war.
Check it out.
The government employees, contractors, and soldiers then deposit their pay in the banks. Now, this may come as a shock to you, but when you deposit your currency with the bank, you're not actually depositing it into an account to be safely held in trust for you. Instead, you're actually loaning the bank your currency, And within
This is where Bitcoin comes into play. You own your money. You're the only person with the keys to the blockchain. You're the only person with the keys to your Bitcoin. You're not giving anybody a loan when you buy Bitcoin.
certain legal limits, they can do with it pretty much anything they please. This includes gambling in the stock market and loaning it out, at a profit, of course. Now this is where the machine of currency creation really gets cranking, because this is where something called fractional reserve lending comes into play. Fractional reserve lending is exactly what it says. The banks are allowed to reserve only a fraction of your deposit and loan the rest out. Although reserve ratios may vary, I'm going to use a 10% reserve ratio as our example. If you deposit $100 in your account, the bank can legally take $90 of it and loan it out without telling you. The bank must hold $10 of your deposit in reserve just in case you want some of it. These reserves are called vault cash. But why does your bank account still say you have $100 if the bank has stolen $90 of it? Because the bank left IOUs it created, called bank credit, in its place. Now I know this sounds crazy, but here it is in black and white from the Fed. Commercial banks create checkbook money when they grant a loan simply by adding new deposit dollars in accounts on their books in exchange for a borrower's IOU. These are nothing but numbers that the banks type into their computers. And even though these bank credit IOU numbers are very different from base currency numbers, because they only exist in computers, they are still currency. So now there is $190 in existence. Now the reason people take out loans from the banks is to buy something. They're going to buy a house or a car or something like that. So the borrower takes the $90 that the bank loaned to him from your account and he pays the seller of the item. But then the seller deposits that currency into his account and his bank loans out 90% of that and leaves bank credit numbers in its place. So now there's $271 in existence. This process repeats and repeats until under a 10% reserve ratio, an initial deposit of just $100 can create up to $1,000 of bank credit, all backed by $100 of vault cash, just 10%. But as I said, reserve ratios vary wildly. On some deposits, it's 10%, on others, it's 3%, and on some forms of deposits, reserve requirements are 0. The result is that the expansion of the currency supply by the banks is far greater than even this example would lead you to believe. So once again, when currency is deposited in the banks get to lend it out, and then it gets redeposited and relent, redeposited and relent, redeposited and relent over and over again, creating bank credit all the way. This is where the vast majority of our currency supply comes from. In fact, 92 to 96% of all currency in existence is created not by the government, but here in the banking system. Now, massive amounts of currency.
All right, so if you want to check this out, I'm going to put a link in the description right now of the video, okay? Real fast. Just got to edit. So it'll be right above the welcome to my channel, right below my Twitter. How the Fed and money supply work in America. Boom. We'll save that up. Go back to my lives. I can check out on the chat. Do your thing, man. Okay. So, where are we now? Okay. Watching the Dow. Back up 33 points. It's pretty good. Gold still rocketing up to 1630. That Fed cut really was great for gold. The Fed rate cut boomed up gold really fast. Put it right back above. It's kind of an upside down V-shaped recovery that didn't hold its value, right? So we're kind of back into this flag again, you could say. And we're breaking out of it, which is kind of now a rising wedge, which we're breaking out of. We could almost do this too. I guess we could make a bottom trend line like this. And we could say that was a retest. Came up, retested, bounced right off the line. So that could be another level of support here, this 1585. So we're looking at Jnug up 62.87 now at 15%. Really, really good. I just plopped $5,000 into Jnug at market open at about 58. So I put my money where my mouth is. You can see that this is why I do this for a living. And I've been trading gold on and off for 5 years now. It's just something that I'm passionate about, something that I love. Very interesting. We're going to get into the crypto markets now. We're going to see what's going on with Bitcoin. We looked at the Dow. Where's the Dow now? Dow up 5 points. I think the Dow is going to have a bad day today. I think eventually people are going to sell off. I think gold is going to look way too sexy for too many investors. And I think majority of stocks are just not handling it well. Tesla, though, people running into Tesla still up 4% at 777. Kind of an interesting number to want to buy Tesla like at the 777s. But yeah, we could see what happens now with this. Tesla. If I was going to buy Tesla, I guess some of you guys want to know, right? If I was going to buy Tesla, what do I see for Tesla? It's weird with all these gaps and moves, right? That's why I like crypto too. You don't have all these gaps, so you can kind of make a clearer picture of what's happening. In my opinion, we spiked up, and then we spiked down. So what I see here is we were in a falling wedge. This is what I'm going to see. We were in a falling wedge here like this, okay? We broke up out of the falling wedge. Turn that down, sorry. We broke up out of the falling wedge, and now we're breaking out of that. So where do I see Tesla going? Well, you want to kind of take this pole here, bring it over. So we could get back up to 933 for Tesla. 933 if the market does what it's supposed to do. You know, like if we don't get a tanking Dow, honestly. There's a lot of uncertainty now. It's almost like stocks feel like cryptocurrency now, and the Dow feels like Bitcoin. What will happen with the Dow can kind of throw off all these other trades, even if they look like they're probably going to happen. But right now, if you were to buy Tesla, we're looking at a possible 20% gains back to 934, and that should happen from this falling wedge breaking out. Something that definitely is not too strange. Also, we have all the moving averages beautifully aligned, very healthy. We have the RSI just peaking above 50 on its way. We're getting out of a MACD turn. This is a great day to accumulate Tesla. I would buy Tesla right now for a nice 20% gain, something that looks like a pretty solid move. Where would my stop loss be? My stop loss would probably be, I would look at these levels here. See, you're looking at previous support and resistance. So maybe one stop loss here at 733, another one down here at 66. I do not like to lose more than I'm trying to win. So I think my stop loss would be here at 740. I would lose 5%, and I'm trying to gain 20. That's a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. You're risking 5 to gain 20%. That is the trade I would make right now. I would make it below this line, probably just a little more, something like 5.5%, something like this. So there's a trade I'm giving you guys right there on Tesla. And the reason why I'm seeing RSI ready to go on a move up. We see the MACD pulling out. This is also on the daily, so it's a very strong signal here that we're going to have some upside swing coming on the MACD. Let's hope that the stock market and the Dow does its thing and just kind of swing. As long as the Dow kind of stays in this little trough that it's in here, something like this, maybe it starts getting choppy. We will see. I predicted for the Dow, though, that we would have a retrace down to, let me just show you what I'm thinking. I had to go to the weekly to see it because it's so far down. My prediction for the Dow was a retrace down to 15,000 eventually. That is no coronavirus. That was pre-coronavirus. That was just going by the Fibonacci retracement levels. When a stock goes up by this much, again, I show people this is the 2008 housing crisis. This is the dot-com bubble right here. We went from 11.7 all the way back down to 7,000. Here is 14.2 all the way back down to 5.77. That's huge. These are big moves. Actually, 6.149 maybe was the low. But still, these are huge moves. Now the Dow has been pumped by so much money in 10 years. Look how much it grew. The Dow has never grown that much in 10 years, ever, in the history of a civilization, honestly. Very good video. Chief Edward Griffin wrote a book about the Federal Reserve called The Creature from Jekyll Island. Check that for more information. Oh, no, we know all about Griffin, man. I'm on that guy. He's also into aliens, UFOs. I do a lot of other outside research into aliens, UFOs, and stuff of that nature. What I am learning now is now that I cover the coronavirus a lot, I really think there's a market for this outside data, outside knowledge, You know, what was used to be thought as conspiracy theory is now basically truth given knowledge. And I feel like I may expand my channel here, Crypto Lifer, to not only talk about cryptos, but to get into some other things like Edward Griffin, the Jekyll from, you know, that story. No, I haven't read the book, but I know all about the book. I was actually watching Griffin just 2 days ago. I dabble with what he says, and I've been watching him for a long time. Paul, thank you so much. That's a great comment, and it actually lets me to believe where my subscribers are thinking, and I really appreciate that. So, Paul Taylor, thank you very much. That's awesome. Thank you very much. I was just talking about the Dow. I'm showing you guys right here. Here is the 2008 housing crisis bubble right here. This is in this area here. So that is, let me move this up so you can really get a look at it. So you see what I'm saying here, right? This is the 08 housing bubble, right? And we're all the way up here. So when a stock goes up like this, you pull a Fibonacci retracement, and usually it goes to the 61%, between the 0.5 and the 61%. And I think I basically, looking at this, said, you know what, we should come back into the golden pocket, which is between 15,000 and 18,000. And that would just be regular logarithmic trading, like on a T. Like, that wouldn't be anything too crazy. That would be something that we would see. Jnug just absolutely having a huge day now, up 18%. I bought Jnug this morning. I'd like to see how much I'm up right now. It would be pretty interesting. Let me see this. Let me check my E-Trade account. Playing games. We'll go over that later, but I know I am up. I bought in at like 58. So 5 would be 10%. We're already well above that. I think we're up like $7. So we're up more than 10% on Jnug for the day. That's going to be a $500 to $1,000 day for me. I will take that. Sitting at home, trading, I will take $500 a day. All day long, right? Yeah. So, and again, I show you these guys over and over and over again. That's why I trade the same instruments over and over again. You get good at them when you know what's going on. Tesla 781, I said a 770 buy. The reason why I said that was we were in a downward wedge here on the daily, and we broke out of it. And then I think we're going to go up to 922 for a gain of 20% on this buy at 777. Let's see if I'm correct. My stop loss would be only 5% loss somewhere down here. You would have your stop loss set at 739. Take a gander on one of my trades. Maybe it'll work out for you. Maybe it won't. Maybe you'll curse my name, or maybe you'll love me. It all depends what happens, right, tomorrow. But for the most part, I think I'm going to set you off pretty straight, because I'm not going to tell you to trade anything if I don't know anything about it, right? I'm not a snake oil salesman out here. Yeah. So watch this APT. This was selling masks by the hundreds. You know, they're basically a medical supply. They're going to wait for them to kind of come back down. And I think they may be another buy soon. They went up 300%. I mean, it was ridiculous. They also obviously had a retrace. They were at $6. They went all the way to $41. I mean, that's actually a 700% gain from February 20th. If you bought this at $6.52 and you were able to somehow sell the top, even somewhere in the top, 550% gains, that's crypto life, man. Like, you don't see this in the stock market. That's crypto life. That was from the coronavirus and people just freaking out, buying masks. They were selling masks by the hundreds of thousands, and then people were wondering what to get into. APT, Alpha Pro Tech, they exploded, absolutely exploded. So, all right, let's get into crypto. Let's find out what's going on in the crypto markets. I recently made a pretty big buy into Bitcoin. Bitcoin taking a little bit of a hit today. I'm wondering why, wondering what's happening with that. My stop loss is very shrewd, only could lose about 40, 50 bucks. So I just tried to scalp a little Bitcoin move. I just did a 10 times leverage trade with 300 bucks. So I turned 300 into 3,000 on Bybit. We're going to see what happens with that. I went in at like 8848. So out of nowhere, Bitcoin having a little bit of an issue. Not sure what's going on. And we are seeing a curve here, MACD ending. That tells me we have some downside for Bitcoin. Sad to say. On the 6-hour chart, I see a little bit of downside for Bitcoin, possibly retesting this 8,600 region one more time. And if we break through that, we're going to go to 8,465. And if we break through that, we're going to go to 8,291. And then if we break through that, we're going back down to basically 7,700 if we ended up not holding that 8,000 level. So big things to watch for Bitcoin, and it's not a big deal if we go to 7,900 at all. I don't think that's an issue at all. But it just will be a nice time to accumulate some more Bitcoin, obviously. If we check it on the daily, we're coming out of a MACD and about to turn up. So the daily is actually looking strong, looking like we're going to have some big moves coming forward with the daily. So the daily is more promising. So I say with the daily looking like this and the 6 hour looking like that, I'm going to say we go back, maybe retest 8,600, and then we're on our way back to crack 9,000. And that's what I see for Bitcoin. If I were to get into Bitcoin right now, I would wait for that 6 hour moment. I'd watch it on the 6 hour. I'd wait for this to curve, see what happens with the red, see what's going to really go on in the next 6 hours, 7 hours. And then maybe later tonight, around 10, between like 7 and 10 o'clock, I would recheck this 6 hour chart once it had made it through this red histogram that may be coming on the horizon. And then I would be accumulating Bitcoin into a position. The daily is reading strong moves. We'll be checking on the weekly. The weekly, basically, right now we're getting a MACD cross on the weekly that just occurred, something like this, and boom, we boomed up pretty hard. We're getting it very here too, but now we see that the blue line is coming to the red line. A little struggle here for the weekly, but we're in a good spot. RSI is about cracking 50, so things are looking well on the weekly as well for another boom up. I mean, it's only a matter of time till we cross those all-time highs for Bitcoin. If I look at Bitcoin on a chart that I have here, I have it in a bilateral triangle, which could go up or down to the up to the upside or down to the downside. The upside target I see here, though, is 211% at $27,217. That's what I see happening for Bitcoin. Let me just check the chat real quick, see what's going down. The market is inflated by the feds. You're going to lose a lot. As long as you have a stop loss, you're okay. I'll lose a lot. What? I have no money in the market at all except for Jnug. I only buy gold stocks, man. Like, I don't buy anything in the market. So MA63, I've been trading only crypto for a long time. So yeah, I already know the market's inflated by the Fed. We just talked about that. MA63. Make sure you're with me, man, 100%. That's why you come to my channel, because me and you probably have a similar outlook. Let me just go back to what I said about the Dow, just so we make sure we're all on the same page. Because I appreciate any comment and I appreciate every subscriber. So I was just showing people that this was the .com bubble right here. This was the housing market bubble. We are all the way up here. In 10 years, the Dow has never done anything like this. I actually just pulled a retracement. I've been saying this for a long time. I think we go back to the Fibonacci golden pocket here, which puts us in, and we could even go lower to the 706, 13,000, between 18,000. I know it's a broad range, but I say we go below 18,000. So that's why I would trade gold and Jnug. I just bought Jnug earlier. So if you don't know what Jnug is, it's a Direxion Shares ETF Trust Junior Gold Miners Index Bull 3x shares. So you get 3 times leverage basically without trading leverage. They also own all sorts of instruments in gold, gold mining, gold stocks, actual gold, physical gold, vault gold. So when you buy Jnug, it's like similar to buying like the S&P of gold, right? We had a huge bog down. Then we have a nice green candle coming up. We're coming out of the MACD for the weekly. It's looking very strong buy right now, honestly, in my opinion, for Jnug. I got in at 58 this morning. We're already up 19% on the day alone. So yes, and MA63, just tell me what you think I was doing, because I'm not somebody who's trading markets. If I am in the equities market, I'm trading gold and gold only. Yeah, Tesla, I was just giving people a Tesla idea if they wanted to trade Tesla. That's what I think is going to happen, but I am not trading Tesla, honestly. I'm not trading any instrument but Jnug on the global markets here in the Nasdaq or the stock market. I am a crypto lifer for sure. I love my crypto. So, yeah, I don't spend a lot of time trading equities. I just don't. And I don't think it's a good time to be trading equities at all. So, yeah. So, MA63, just to keep you at ease, this is a crypto channel. I only really get into equities market when I'm trading gold. To me, gold and Bitcoin are somewhat correlated assets. They're both on the outskirts. They're contrarian. And so, yeah, there you go. No, but I'm with you 100%, man. Like, stay the hell away from the equities market. Like, don't be buying. Oh, I'm gonna go in the Carnival Cruise Line today. You know, I just think we're gonna have a huge correction, and it's on its way. I think coronavirus or not, we were gonna have a huge correction. Oh, my moment, BAN just keeps making moves. I don't know if you guys know about BAN, but BAN just keeps making moves. Let's check it on the 4-hour. I haven't given it some solstice, but I did say buying here at the bottom of the trend line was a good idea. I was looking at this kind of channel that we were in. Every once in a while, I will let something slip out. That's if there was a huge, crazy move or correction. I'll let that slip out of the channel because we knew that was a V-shaped recovery. Look at the beautiful V-shaped recovery we had, though, for BAN. I actually want to start paying attention to BAN. It looks like a lot of people are. So from February 20th till now, which is about 12 days, gains of 43%. That's why I like crypto, and I think we're on our way to kind of bend back up, come above the 70 range and get into the overbought. But until we're there, we do see a cross here on the MACD on the 4-hour, meaning we may have a little bit more downside. So you may want to wait to accumulate this, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to play BAN, so I don't have something to tell you guys. What I do see, though, is a rounded bottom, which is a bullish, to me, quite bullish. Okay? You see it. It's strange because we've had some really crashes that have affected it. But there's an overall structure in play that I see here. Right? Here's the overall structure that I'm seeing. You can bend this down. Curve that up. Something like that, right? So we actually there's a chance we do come back down to this trend line, back to 22. That would be the time to really get into band. That's when the RSI would reset. So you got to be patient in a lot of these things. But look, it did it here. It went all the way up. You thought you missed it. Came all the way down. Then you got to ride it again. Thought you missed it. Came all the way down. You got to ride it again. Will we get it a third time? Who knows? But that's something to watch for band. We also have a cross here, the 21 crossing all the moving averages, which is very healthy. And yeah, it's an interesting thing to look at. I see it going up almost every other day, so now it's caught my radar. Bear USDT. This is if you want to short the entire crypto market. You buy this bear. You can buy this on Binance now. They introduced these. So if you think Bitcoin's going down, you can buy bear Tether USD, and that basically will give you a hedge on the crypto market. And bear USD right now is up 5%. So Link making moves at 439. I have it in this triangle. It looks like it's breaking above the triangle. I would say if it keeps coming up, will it come and retest? But buying the breakout of Link could be a great idea. What do I see for this? We're in this huge triangle. Okay. And I see our target is 546. And now we're in this new wedge, which we're creating. We're on the bottom of the wedge. So let's zoom into this smaller structure here. So we had our V-shaped recovery. We bounced to the top of the trend line, came down, bounced back to the top of the trend line. You see these trend line buys down here? These are where you want to accumulate. Again, right here, when I showed you my earlier purple area. This is where I had said you should be accumulating Link right here. In between 190 and 176, this was the spot. You'd be up damn near 100% right now on Link if you had taken that call. I was saying it over and over again. But hey, is what it is. Stanford virus investigator says we won't be able to stop the coronavirus even with the vaccine. No, there's no way. I already know that. I don't know if you check my coronavirus streams, but I do one every night around 10. Last night I was just too tired and exhausted. A lot was going on. I was kind of overstressed, so I took the night off. But tonight I think I'll bounce back strong with an unbelievable update on the coronavirus. So look out for me tonight at 10 p.m. I'll be doing a live stream. They just closed New York City school. Two New York City schools have been closed due to the coronavirus. Many more to follow. We will see teachers maybe doing remote teaching. Maybe there's going to be like something you can do where you sign in and you remote teach. My wife resigned from her position because she felt like it was getting too heavy. This was 2 weeks ago, and the school went up in arms. They all got pissed at her. We've been going through a lot of backlash. Even my parents, my dad's been swearing at me and telling me that I'm out of my mind because I'm basically doing proper reporting on the virus. I've been getting attacked by family, friends, ridiculed, laughed at. I'm not going to large events, basketball games at Madison Square Garden. I'm missing out on all the parties that friends are inviting me to. I'm just keeping myself out of the general population as much as I can, and people are ridiculing me And I'm getting a lot of pain for it. But honestly, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. And every day when the news gets worse, I realize that I have been doing the right thing for my family. And yeah, honestly, there's a chance you could die even if you're young from this. Odds are low. Odds are very low. But someone you know, possibly, if you know 500, 300 people, thank you so much, MA63. It means the world to me, man. Smiley faces for you. I actually want to hit the thumbs up, but I don't want to like take too much time and distract myself getting into the thumbs up. But yeah, Link, if I was going to accumulate Link, I'm going to see it either come back down to the bottom of the trend line. This is what I said yesterday. These are my two things. Or it's going to come up, and I would get it in this green box here. See this green box between 438 and 452? This would be my accumulation range, and we would ride it basically up to 546. My target here. For a 19% gain out of the box here in this area. Or even more if you have the cojones to get into it right now. You're looking at a 25% gain. Obviously, a lot of gains for Link have already come. Will we see a bigger retest once we get higher here? Is it a chance we even come back down? I don't think so. I think too many people like Link, and it has just too many people going crazy for it. I think it's impervious to basically some of the things that Bitcoin goes up and down for. Like you can see Bitcoin's had some moves. Link has had some big corrections. Like we were all the way up at 476. We went all the way back to 330. But within a short time, I mean, that would have been the greatest place to accumulate Link. Yeah. My little daughter behind me messing with me. She's so sweet, man. Kava. I've been talking about Kava. I do a lot of USDT pairs. I feel like once we get above this line here, it'll be time to buy Kava. So I'm waiting on Kava right now. We need to get above 11,061. We're at 10,000. Why? Because I think that will become, look, it was support, support, support. We broke down, right? Now we got to come back up. It should become resistance. We should come down. We should have some hard time breaking through it. And once we break through it, it should establish a new floor for Kava at 11,084 or no 11,004 actually, right? Is that, yeah, 11,104. Yeah, so triple ones and 104. So XTZ, one of my favorites because it gives you 6% a year, which is pretty sexy if you ask me. XTZ right here at 272. What would I be doing? I think we're in accumulation range right now. This is looking a lot like Jnug when Jnug was bouncing around. Whenever you see a lot of chop, right, there's a lot of buying and selling in this place. We can also add another indicator. It's just annoying to me because it takes a long time to load. It's called the VPVR. The VPVR is really cool because what it does is it shows you where people are buying and selling visually. Okay? Oh, this is thing. I'm doing a indicator. VPVR. Visible range. Click on it and you see our visible range came right where I thought. See where this range comes out? Buying and selling, buying and selling. So when you see this graph sticking out the longest, that's where you really want to accumulate because that's showing you there's a lot of people buying and selling in this area. I think Tezos is a legit buy right now. Really looking good. We're basically coming up on the RSI. We are above 50 right now, or about to be up above 50. So there could be a little downside. We are turning here on the MACD on the 4 hour. Could be a little more downside, maybe somewhere. Maybe we could see it go back down into the 270, 268 region, something like that, something of that nature. Kind of want to come back down into this line. But I think this is accumulation zone right now for Tezos. Also, it gives you 6% a year. So people are more apt to take a little hit on this and not sell because they're getting that dividend. So you have to, I think the sell pressure on this is low. Let's pull a fib on it just to see what it looks like, the Fibonacci retracement. We'll come to our bottom here, up to our top. And we did hit the 0.5 Fibonacci. You either hit the 618 or the 0.5, and you really want to get in between the 0.5 and the 618. If we see a spike, there was the spike right there. It entered the accumulation zone for most traders. So this is like almost textbook accumulation right now for Tezos. I gotta urge everyone and my subscribers. I really think this is a good time to be getting into Tezos. I gotta say that. That's what the chart says too. I'm not trying to force it. I'm just showing you what the chart says. So Just putting a smiley face into the chat. Why not? Okay, so that's what I see happening for Tezos. Now, VeChain. I really like VeChain. It's doing a similar thing. It's at the bottom of a trend line here where I think it could come up a nice 53%. Look, we're in the VPVR, which is a huge accumulation range yet again. We are curving up on the MACD. Looks like we'll come up and have a little bit of a downside here in the 4 hours. So like we're going to maybe chop a little more here. This is an area where I really think is a great time to accumulate VeChain. And let me show you why. We hit this area back here in November. We hit this area right here in December. We hit it right here again in January. And we wicked off of it. When I mean wick, see this wick came down to the line and bounced back up. So here you see this is basically the accumulation zone. Here you would have made money. Here you would have made money. Then you would have kind of got here. You still would have made money. We're back here again. It's just a place that they like to retest. We're halfway up on the RSI. It's looking very similar to the last one we just looked at, Link in a way, or XEZ even. Both are in accumulation zones in my opinion, but you do have to have a stop loss. If Bitcoin takes a dump on us, it will just send these down, and that's sad to say. Unless you want to hold it balls to the wall, but I advise stop losses on everything. So right now you would get in at 5719. Let me just kind of play this trade out. See, what's tough is the next real resistance line is a 10% loss. So I would basically begin to ladder in. I wouldn't be putting like $500 to $700 into this. I'd be starting to put, $5,000 to $7,000. I would be putting $500 to $700 I would begin my accumulation of this instrument, of this coin. The VPVR very strong in that region. As you can see, this is basically textbook accumulation as well for VeChain. It's already gone up all the way to a cent before, and it's half a penny right now, 5 7/10 of a half a penny. So 57, and it only needs to go 53 to get back to a penny, and that will be damn near 60 to 70% gains if we get to the penny. Let's see where the penny is. 999. There's the penny right there. Talking 78% gains if you get to the penny from where we're at right now. Good old VeChain. So yeah, I would be trading VeChain, Link, Tezos. They have the movement, they have the volume, Bitcoin, and then I'd be on the radar for any just wacky, strange thing that's happening in the cryptocurrency markets. I also like BAT, Basic Attention Token, but I haven't been trading it much lately. Let me see what's going on. Not as much of support and resistance here. We got support and resistance here. We got some resistance. We are on this line of support. We broke through here. It seemed to hold here. Look, we bounced off it here. We bounced off it a few times with some wicks, but we broke through. Then we came back, but we became, that's a support and resistance flip right there. Look, boom, became resistance, resistance. We broke through, became support. Textbook, and then boom, we were off to the races. So we also had what's called basically complex head and shoulders, or a double top. You can see a lot going on here, but we have a head, shoulders. So we want to take that measured move and see what was going on with it. To do that, you take the length of the head here and you bring it to like a neckline. And honestly, in my opinion, we retraced exactly what the head and shoulders would retrace to. This was a nice accumulation zone, and now we're in a tiny flag. You can see this little flag forming here in BAT. You would take the pole of the measured move, bring it right here, and then we're going to take that measured move of 11 to 12% from today alone. So even from this little thing that I'm seeing here, again, a VPVR lighten up, telling you that's accumulation range, a lot of buying and selling to keep it there. We are coming up from these low points. I think we need to come up. There's going to be some consolidation. But yeah, BAT's on my radar as well. Something to look at, something to check out. So we went over BAT, we went over Band, we went over Link, we went over an XTZ. Let's look at XRP. XRP, what do I see happening? XRP, again, looks just, look, I mean, did I just look at two of the same charts? Like, this is insane. Like, let's look at BAT. Look, high up, down, and accumulation range. Yo, BAT and XRP look exactly the same. Look at these weird anomalies. Look, guys. I mean, did I just change? Look, it's exactly the same. I actually drew this line here, and I said I see XRP. If this is a complex head and shoulders, which it was, I took the neckline from here, and I brought it to the end of the shoulder, and I said we could see XRP kind of going all the way back to 18 cents. But I felt like it would hold this other bottom of support here. Too many people around that are into XRP. What do I have for the big structure? So what I do is I turn this VPVR off, because what happens is it just gets so slow that it tends to load slower, and I can't see my charts as fast as I want. Right now we're in a falling wedge in XRP. Once we break out of the falling wedge, I have a target of 133% at 67 cents. From there, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm still a firm believer in XRP, a long-term bag holder, but if you're trying to just make a scalp, a 1 or 2 month scalp, I think this is the time to accumulate XRP as well, 23.38 cents. I think we've had a full shakeout of the different cryptocurrency market. I think we're now moving forward. In my opinion, the charts, forget what I think, the charts also show, see that we have this new upward trend line, which I drew right here. So we're still in an uptrend. If you continue this higher low than down here. We also have hidden bullish divergence in a way, kind of slightly. Nah, not really, but shows that the move should continue upwards though.
This is for to see the performance tonight.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. My daughter does a performance every night, and I need my ticket, and she gives me an object to get into the performance, and I better not lose my ticket or I don't get in. Not good. So I saw XRP in this lane. See, I made two kind of triangles here, but I think this is the time right now to get into XRP. We had our fallout down to 18. We moved all the way back up to 35 with 100% move damn near. Then we came all the way back down for the retrace, right? And I'm sure, let's look at that on a fib. So we're looking for confluence. We're looking for a shape, a fib, VPVR, using multiple oscillators to kind of explain to us what we see. These are what other traders are doing as well. We are in the 618, 706. We're in a beautiful place, man. This is the golden pocket to accumulate. I can't say this enough. With the trend line, with movement on the RSI, there may be a little more downside in this little area, but I say this is the textbook time to buy XRP, just in my opinion, to begin accumulating. So, yeah. I think I hit you guys with enough trades. You also do whatever you like, but I'm hitting you guys with enough knowledge and what I see in the markets. Bitcoin bouncing back 877. We need to get it up to 878. Let's see what happens. I'm still on the 10 times leverage trade. It's only my second leverage trade of my life. We look like we got propped up by the 21-day moving average here, so we bounced. We want to see this curve back up and start heading over and crossing. We don't want to see these things happen right here with this 50 crossing the 200. We do see that, and that's kind of not a good sign, right? But on the daily, we're coming out of the MACD turning up. So the daily says that we'll be good. A couple days, we should be well above 9,000 in the short term. So that's what I see for Bitcoin. I would accumulate right now with a tight stop loss. Again, if we break through 86, we get to 84, we get to 82, and then we're all the way back to the 7,900 region here in this pocket here. So these are all my support and resistance lines that I made months and months and months ago. But you can see we're still in that big giant triangle. I have it on the USD here. We are in this giant triangle, which I see a target all the way up of 211%. So that's just what I see for Bitcoin. $27,000 Bitcoin sometime in, I'm going to say May. Maybe mid-July. I'll say mid-July to be safe. That's what I see happening for Bitcoin. The news, man. Federal Reserve makes an emergency cut. Interest rates. Bitcoin tries to hold on to support. The Fed interest rate cut by 0.5%. The Federal Reserve just announced the single biggest interest rate cut since 2008 financial crisis. It came as a shock to markets, which rallied upon hearing the news. According to the New York Times, rates are now set in a range of 1% to 1.25%. The surprise announcement has caused some stocks to rally. Immediately after the announcement, stocks began to rise. At the time of writing it, the S&P spiked 1% after the announcement. Britain's FTSE 100 and Germany's DAX pushes towards rising 2%. As of now, the macroeconomic indicators do not show that the coronavirus is affecting consumer spending in the United States. This has led some commentators to believe that the possible recession could be avoided. But you know the thing, a lot of people are buying things because they're afraid. Like they're buying food, they're buying masks. So this is creating a emergency consumerism. But I think people are putting these things on credit cards. So even though people are spending, how are they spending? Are they spending with a credit card? Because if they are, then that kind of is counterintuitive, right? Bitcoin responds to the news with a sudden spike, which quickly lost steam at 1554. Bitcoin posted a wick which touched 8,825 and since dropped to 8,750. There's some bearish pressure. It may fall further, but as of now, it's unclear. Bitcoin was trading at 8,500 on March 1st and has seen some modest gains since then. Yeah, the debate how Bitcoin would respond to global supply shock is still uncertain. On the one hand, purely digital commodities like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies should be severely affected. Yet, as we know, the cryptocurrency market is closely tied to real-world events. So the jury is still out on how Bitcoin will perform given these mounting economic issues. I disagree. I think it's on the outskirts, people who are contrarian investors, and I think money will flow into it like people with short markets and they'll buy Bitcoin. So, but Bitcoin not doing that well, but as I showed you on the daily, it looks like it's on its way up. So strong moves on the daily. The Dow is still holding now, starting to dump at 182 points. This will be good for gold. Gold at 1639. Like to see that. Jnug at 64. Nice move for the day. And yeah. So my trade worked out already. Made $500 between 9:30 and 11:10, sitting in my pajamas. But yes, this took years and years and years to be able to make any type of trade like that. So too big. I made myself too big. I don't need to be that big, right, guys? Jeez Louise. But yeah, I think I'm giving some awesome data here. We're discussing things, going over the news. Let's just see what the news is too. So we hit an 8,900 sell wall. Elon Musk voices support for Dogecoin after recent Bitcoin bashing. Oh, Elon. Musk is a known fan of Dogecoin so far. This is not the first time when Tesla CEO expressed his positive stance to Dogecoin. I don't know why he chose Dogecoin. Musk is also known for his collaborative efforts with Dogecoin creator Jackson Palmer in fighting against cryptocurrency scammers on Twitter. The famous technology entrepreneur has even elected on Twitter to become the CEO of Dogecoin, leaving behind other candidates such as Ethereum co-founder Vidalin Buren and Litecoin creator Charlie Lee. As reported by Cointelegraph, Dogecoin is a blockchain-based peer-to-peer cryptocurrency that was born out of the Doge, meaning the honor of a dog of Shiba Inu, the Shiba Inu breed. Launched in 2013, Doge became a widely used cryptocurrency, with its popularity reportedly far exceeding expectations of its founder, Billy Marcus. Yeah, people just seem to love Doge. It was one of the first coins, and it kind of came on. Let's just take a look at Doge. Do I even have it here? Look, I have Dogecoin, man. Look, it does have a double bottom structure, cup and handle. On the daily, it's coming out. Actually, this is telling me it's time to buy. It's coming out of the MACD. It's turning up on the daily. This is actually a strong correlation to a nice buy. We do see some moving averages coming lower, crossing the 200. We can see this 21 bounce away from the 200. Wow. Strange enough, but I do actually see Doge being a play here. So the sirens are just constant lately in my neighborhood, and I think it has something to do with the coronavirus. I don't know. Maybe, right? Never heard so many sirens on my live stream ever. Ever. How many sirens do we hear a day, Summer?
1,000.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot, right? Even my daughter can pick up on it. So we're in this channel now that we're breaking out of. Where do I see Doge and why? Well, you take this move here and you bring it to the breakout. Wow. Interesting to see this on my radar now. So 38% gains coming for Doge if we don't get a huge Bitcoin dump. This Doge USDT pair, which is tethered, looks like you could be making 38% on Dogecoin. It could come back and retest. That'll be a beautiful place. We do see the 21 curving up. Hopefully this crosses over and we see a reinforcement of the move. We're getting high though, but we still have a lot of room to go on the RSI. We're on a healthy uptrend. Wow. On the 4-hour and on the daily, Doge looks strong. Interesting. Right now would be the time to buy as it breaks out of this falling wedge. Do we make it a channel like this and we say it's the top of the channel? I don't think so, because this rounded curve here. So yeah, Dogecoin. Just went over that. Checked it out. Bitcoin Cash stops. Central bank digital currencies must focus on consumer needs. Yeah. Binance coin price sees rise to $20. What's next? Boosting digital asset security critical to crypto growth, of course. Network 2.0 at Blockchain Life, making hundreds of connections to Blockchain Life. West Virginia ditches Volt's blockchain voting for paper ballot. Crypto exchange hack, how analysis firms come to the rescue. Tether CTO to tell the story of USDT stablecoin at upcoming conference. Pretty cool, man. There's been a lot of strange things with Tether. Over the past several years, Tether has been associated with the exchange Bitfinex, have felt the brunt of countless claims of foul play. Current lawsuits encompass concerns that have loomed for quite some time. Tether currently finds itself in the midst of a pressing legal matter, standing up against a class action lawsuit that has seen substantial media coverage over the past several months. These are people who lost tons of money, and they're trying to blame it on Tether, in my opinion. Or they're trying to say, oh, Tether printed the price to Bitcoin. I don't know, man. I think it's a bunch of whiners, honestly. I wouldn't want to see anything happen to Tether. I do prop myself into Tether a lot. So a lot of things kind of moved back. Look, we had Tesla moving back, but Jnug strong, 65. That was basically the best buy. The technical indicator is saying it's time to sell. I don't listen to these at all. Yeah, but gold going up. Jnug was the play for the day. I think it might be the highest thing on the yeah, look, 20% now. It's the top of my list of gainers for the day. I'm sure there was pharmaceuticals, other things. There's always something flying. But for me, I don't be chasing stuff like that. It's not my character to be going after day trades of that nature. I'm really not a day trader, so to speak. I'm more of a swing, or I look for opportunities in any market. But I don't go chasing 100% gaining bags, and I'm probably pretty conservative compared to most traders that you know. I think that's why I'm still here and I'm still in the game. Because I don't over leverage myself. I don't trade leverage a lot. I don't do a lot of things that risk my potential to gain money, to make money. All right, guys. I'm going to end it there. Hope you had a wonderful day. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're feeling all right. Let's get through this coronavirus. Let's stay positive. Remember, tonight I'll be live streaming at 10 p.m. talking about the coronavirus. So look out for that. That's something that I'll be doing. And yeah, if you want to join my live stream and you want to discuss, you want to know what happened with the day's news, look like they're closing a New York City school. There's a lot going on. We're just turning the entire market into a pump and dump penny stock. Got it. I love Jacob, man. Since lower interest rates will do nothing to alter coronavirus-related consumer behavior, the Fed's real concern was the reverse wealth effect lower stock prices would have on consumers and the economy. So the rate cut was not really about coronavirus, but the stock market. I think that's exactly true, honestly. Yeah, so it's the coronavirus, the flu, blah, blah, blah. Let's just break it down. How about it's a bad virus that will kill some vulnerable people and some random people. Like some people that are 100% healthy will die. It's the facts. I do not know why, but that's just the facts, the law of averages. And it could be very unpleasant for healthy people. Stay clean, be safe. Is that so hard? All right, but thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And remember, crypto is life, man. And if you came to my channel, you're already doing the right thing. Keep it up. I appreciate it. And subscribe. Hit the like button. Help me make some moves. We're at 71 subscribers. My wife said she would do something special for me if I got to 100. So help me get to 100, guys. Because she's not sure how fast it's going to happen. And I want to show her that it can happen very, very fast. So let's get a move on. Okay? I want this channel to grow. I'm doing a lot of good news in the morning. I'm doing a lot of good news at night. And I love every subscriber that I have. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like,